when you've marked your muslin, always we have this 1 inch mark, right? So if the 1 inch is on this side, then that's your center front, because we're always draping on this side of the form. And then on the back, it's the opposite. So we're gonna start out with the yoke. And the yoke, center front, I'm gonna fold back on my fold line. And when you start this out, make sure you have plenty of room to come up over the shoulder, and because this is all going to get cut away, but you want to make sure you come up over the shoulder and have enough for your seam allowance with the initial drape. So once you get that established, pin that fold line right on center front, put a pin at the neck, and then a pin here to hold it. And then I'm going to take and clip toward my neckline to let this relax, get rid of some of the excess. I don't believe the text gives us actual measurements, so this is something, again, you're doing with your eye to get the line. And I'm going to get rid of some of this excess over here too, so just out of the way. Okay, now with the tape, I'm going to do the design line so you guys can see it. Again, I'll pencil this in when I'm done. And we want to stay enough above the bust so that the gathers are forming over the bust on your dress form. So you want to take a shape that gives you that line. Now I got to double check something on the text. I think they're going into the armhole with that. Yeah, 122. So you can do a line, you can do a yoke that goes all the way up and over the shoulder, but to follow the design line of the text, this will end in your armhole, this part of the yoke. So it'll have a natural armhole as opposed to a yoke finish armhole. Okay, so you adjust that line the way you want it. You draw that in with a pencil. This will be my natural armhole, and I will draw in that shape. So let me get rid of all this extra. Just give myself a big inch for the seam allowance. Mark your shoulder and your neckline with a pencil. And that will complete the part of the drape that is the yoke. And then you'll need your 15 by 15 piece with the gathers. So I'm gonna pencil in my shoulder, pencil in my neckline, and pencil my design line. Okay, so this is the armhole, and this, I'm gonna put a mark right there, a notch, to show me where my yoke is starting. Now, for the sake of gathers, I wanna take this distance and half this amount. I can do it flat on the pattern, or I can do it on the form, but I want a notch at the halfway distance to control the gathers. The notch that's gonna bring the gathers together so that it's equally placed. So you get my 15-inch piece, center front. And again, you can pre-gather this edge. Pin this at the waist. Don't put too many pins. Again, it is common when you're learning to drape to put too many. I need to go a little bit higher because I'm not all the way up to the yoke. So let's go a little bit higher. and I can start pinning in these gathers a little bit. And like I said, if you want to do a gathering stitch on the machine or by hand prior, that's also a good way to get it. And you want to keep this grain line. You're not going to pull it sideways or make it, you know, try and make it a tight fit at this stage. So loose fitting top. Okay, now I want to check too on the side. I can't go too far. I'm going to give myself an inch extra on the side seam, and then I'm going to let the rest of that go into the gathers. Pin at the waist to hold it, and put a little bit more into the gathers. All right, so I have that notch in the center. I need control notches here. I need where the gather starts and where the gather ends. Okay, so that would be how you would sew those together and then place it to the yoke. Now I can go back over and draw in my armhole. Remember, we always want to go below the plate about an inch minimum for a sleeve. If you have the squared off plate, go 1.5 inches. So we're gonna put in, I'm gonna go about 1.25 inches, just so I have a little bit lowered armhole, because there's a lot of fullness in that sleeve. And then we're gonna sketch in an armhole for the sleeve, and we'll clean that up later with a French curve, okay? So that line is there. I continue to draw in my yoke line, and then I'm going to go ahead and clip the extra fabric away. Again, give yourself 1 inch at a minimum to make any adjustments. Okay, so you can see the black line underneath. Now, if you want to, you can go back under and pin this under your style line again, just to make sure you get what you need. All right, this same thing repeats on the back. The yoke first, your piece gathered to the back, okay? And then the last step of this drape is the collar. So I can use the same collar that I made for the stand, or you can drape another one. Let's see how well this fits. Okay, so my stand collar is that same drape. You can do it over again, or you can use the one, okay? So I want to be able to finish this much with every student front and back by the end of class today, okay?